championship. Hopefully it goes a lot better than we did last week. I would go to my notes from last week, but we had Eau Rouge, Camel Straight, Lake Com, and then beep shit or restart. So yeah, after last week's events, we were going to run last night, but we decided against it, and we decided to go with tonight because a few of the guys couldn't actually make the race last night. So we decided to just keep it to tonight, and then we'll obviously do Sardegna next week. So we're just sort of catching up on ourselves at the minute. So yeah, we eventually come into round 3 tonight. Obviously it was a bit of a shame last week, but it can't be helped. I know there was a lot of leagues that struggled last week, so it's not just us. We are on a different channel tonight. We're actually on the main SBR channel, which is where our sister race series, the Pro multi-class, is on as well. So hopefully you can try, and if you are watching this race, you can try and flick in between, or you can just watch this one, or you can just watch that one. It's up to you. But I'm going to have a quick look out on track and see who's out there at the minute. Lee Fitzy's out there now. What's changed from last week? Well, we actually we had Luke Mitchell in the race last week, and obviously he's one of the championship contenders, if you will. But obviously he missed round 2 Brazil. He was going to be there last week for Spa, but sadly he cannot be there tonight, and he's actually only racing Sardegna, so he can't even race Nürburgring either. So for Luke, that probably means that he is not a championship contender anymore, even though he's probably one of the quickest. Well, he is one of the quickest, if not the quickest. So it's a bit of a shame, but you know, still got Chris Nerve, Moz and Timmy, and Lee Fitzy if he gets his races right. So well, it is a shame, because obviously we would like to see another driver up there at the front, but it can't be helped sometimes. But yeah, Lee Fitzy just out on track at the minute. Moz is set 57.5 at the moment, and this is just practice. Sometimes they go quicker in the qualifying, sometimes they don't. But yeah, I'm hoping to see a couple of drivers make their way forward this week. I'm hoping the Tomex had a bit more chance to practice, because obviously last week he was chucked in at the deep end a little bit. He joined the same day. I don't even think he'd done any practice, but he did join, and he, you know, fair play to him. He's brought another one to the grid, and hopefully we should see him this week. Obviously last week he was due to be racing last week, but let's see what he can do this week. So qualifying is going to start in 5 minutes. I'm not sure if we're actually waiting on Aussie Rooster, because Aussie Rooster seems to have internet troubles. I know Real Osman was having internet troubles, but he's now in the lobby, so that's a good thing. So yeah, 10 runners tonight, yeah, because Luke is the only one missing. Moz out on track at the moment, which is good to see Moz out there getting some laps in. I still don't know why the car has Bahrain as a track map. No idea. But yeah, Moz is out there on track at the moment, just getting a few laps in. Timmy is out there as well. Chris is Chris out there on track? He's facing the wrong way. Timmy's out there now, so he's going along the Kemmel Straight. So he's set a 1:58.5. Yeah, so qualifying is 5 minutes long, race is 60 minutes long. I'll just quickly run through the championship order as well. After 2 rounds, we have Timmy on 19 points in the lead. He has had a first at Brazil last time out, and a second behind Luke at Monza. So two good results for Timmy. Moz, I think P3 at Monza, P2 at Brazil. So he's looking quite good. Chris seems to be always there or thereabouts in usually the top 4. Chris on 15. Luke on 10. Obviously Luke's only done 1 round and he got the victory at Monza. So we'll see Luke at Sardegna, where he'll be looking to hopefully take 100% record of the races that he's won and raced. Osman joins him on 10 points in joint 4th. Dean, Brian and Lee Fitzy are all there on 9 points, so they're all together in a battle. Aussie Rooster is 3 points behind them on 6, and then Stu Shelton second off the bottom on 5. So quite close from sort of Luke down over. And then obviously we have Tomek, who hasn't done a race yet, at the bottom. So he'll be hoping to get some points on the board. So Timmy 58.3. He went wide at the first corner there, so he'll be compromised on his run through Eau Rouge and down this straight. Yeah, as he's just weaving, you must know that he's on camera, so stop showing off. So corners to mainly look out for overtakes, I would probably think the bus stop chicane, which is the last corner. I don't think there'll be any. I personally wouldn't overtake into La Source, because you don't want to be the guy in front going through Eau Rouge and down the Kemmel. So probably into Lacombe we'll see a few overtakes. If people are feeling brave enough, somebody might try and go around the outside of Blanchimont, or somebody might have a go at Pouan, but I can't see anybody in this championship taking a risk. Maybe one of the guys behind, if they feel like they want to move and get forward, then yeah, maybe. Possibly a few guys who will be, when we go do the start, a few guys from the back might benefit from the tour all the way where Timmy, we're on board with Timmy now. So we might see a few guys sort of in 6th, 7th place getting a good run, and maybe looking at making a few positions up. So it's all to play for, really, for the podium places, the win between Moz, Timmy, Chris. Lee might be there this week, and then you've got Frowny, looks like he's in there with a fight of getting a good finish. Tomek actually up there as well, in 6th, as he's got a. Let's see, we're not going to miss that car, are we? Let's see, has he gone with the chocolate theme, or has he gone with something else? It looks like it's a Mickey Mouse theme to me. It's got a couple of Mickey Mouse faces on there, but yeah. So Tomek's actually in the Toyota as well, so we've got another Toyota on the grid. Along with Luke was in the Toyota. Lee Fitzy's in a Toyota, and Frowny's in a Toyota, and then we've got Stu Shelton, Audi. Oh, Dean was in a Toyota. Brian Porsche, Aussie Rooster Porsche, Osman Porsche, Timmy Audi, Moz Audi, Chris Audi. So yeah, the 3 cars is quite an equal amount on the grid of each car. Whether a certain car will take a dominant, it looks like the Audi's actually pretty much the car to be in. it just seems to have a bit more straight line speed. The tyres are able to switch the tyres on pretty much straight away. I think the guys were saying when we did the interviews, was it Interlagos, when I had the trouble on the night and I had to get them the night after. So yeah, a few of the guys said that the Audi's a good car, which is what we're watching now, which is what Moz is in, and Timmy. So them two guys are at the front, as well as Chris. Yeah, so them guys are always seem to be at the front, and they're all in Audis. So yeah, that seems to be the car to be in right now. As Stu Shelton, actually, is he in the? Yeah, he is in the Audi. So yeah, Stu Shelton, I think he'll be looking forward to getting a lap together. We're actually starting qualifying now, so after a week of waiting, these guys will finally, fingers crossed, be able to get a race done around Spa. And then next week we move on to Sardegna, where that'll be only Luke's only race. And I can probably see the championship starting to come alive there. I mean, there's only 4 points between the top 3, because, well, there isn't that much of a difference in points. I think it's 10 for a win, and then I think it's sort of 9, 8, 9, 8, 7 and so on as the points go down. So there's only 1 point between positions. So even if you get a good grid slot, you know, or you have a disappointing race, you're not always going to be suffering, because, you know, it's only 1 point. You only lost if you say if Timmy finished behind Moz, he only loses 1 point, and he actually still finishes 1 point ahead. He's still 1 point ahead in the championship. So if you're sort of in Moz's position, you want to be winning and then getting a couple of guys in between him and Timmy, as Timmy actually dives on the inside of Chris there. These two guys racing qualifying. I think Chris has just backed off and let Timmy go. Yeah, that was just for track position there, as Chris actually he's gone into the pits by the looks of it. Not everybody's come out. We actually only have five guys entered. So I'm not sure why that is. Osman's left the room. Yeah, looks like we're having another internet troubles again, so this looks like it's going to be restarted. Timmy doesn't look like he's pushing for laps. Stu Shelton definitely doesn't look like he's pushing on a lap. Yeah, everyone pretty much seems to be leaving the room, so I'm going to try and find out what's happening. These guys are leaving the room and coming back in, so I don't know if we're going to restart qualifying. Yeah, as we have a few of the guys are there. So everyone's come back in, and I'm guessing that we're going to restart qualifying. So it's the second week in a row that we've had issues, and it was normally the race that we had issues in last week. So these guys have had practice and then struggled to get qualifying started. So hopefully our host Brian's either going to set up a new lobby, or we hopefully won't have to postpone again. There we have the car list as well from those guys that are in. Yeah, 919 hybrid, the R1816, and the TS050 hybrid, which is the Toyota. So all the runners are back in now. So are these guys? Yeah, we have another bug as well. So yeah, I'm pretty much certain that we're going to restart, but just as we are waiting to find out, I will run through something quickly as well that came to fruition this week about SBR. The Audi TT League and the Toyota FR League, or whatever it is, this week. They're both ending once their season finishes, which is this Friday. Is the last round. They won't be championships anymore, and it'll come to the change into the 2001 911 GT3. So it's sort of they're trying to make it so it's the same as like the touring cars, is closest thing to the Carrera Cup package that they have on there, and the support races of the touring cars, because obviously they have a BTCC championship on a Friday night which runs alongside the TTs and the Toyotas. So that's what's happening next season. That'll be on a Thursday night. Which I don't know if it has any spaces left. It might have a few, but if anybody's interested, might be worth going on and having a look, and maybe joining the championship. We still have a few spaces in others championships as well. I think we have a few different championships obviously ongoing, such as the Tuesday night one, which starts tomorrow. That was due to start last week, and that was due to the internet troubles that we had, so that was obviously postponed last week, which is the GT3s. Wednesday last week we had a one-off rally event which saw a few of our guys out of this championship enter. And then in December we have a new championship starting on a Sunday night, which is in the super formulas, but it's running, I think it's 1994, 1998 F1 retro liveries, so that should be a good championship, which I'll be commentating on as well. I'm not sure on the length of races, probably might be a bit shorter. But we shall see. New lobbies open now, so for those 5 of you that are watching the stream now, keep an eye out for this race. At the end of the race we have an interview session, so I'm looking for a driver of the day as well, so it's normally top 3 and then a driver of the day. So if anybody has any suggestions for driver of the day, then let me know. Obviously I don't know if you guys will be in here all race, but certainly stick around. It is going to be a good one once we get started, I can promise you that, but when we get started I'm not quite sure. Adam Morgan, good luck tonight chaps. Analyst Pro, go well Aussie Rooster. Finley Ostler, go on Aussie. So a couple of Aussie Rooster fans. Yeah, hopefully we get going. I think we need to, once everybody's in, we need to get going pretty sharpish. Don't let anybody go out on track for too long. or else we're going to have a bit of a problem. I think it was the issue. I know there's a bug where sometimes in the lobby the cars start spinning around in the pits for some reason, but it's just one of them things. Just waiting on Osman as he joins now. He 3 rounds in, 5-round championship. We're just coming into Spa, and I think that we've already established a couple of key battles. Definitely Timmy and Moz. Chris Nerve is normally up there with Lee Fitzy if Lee Fitzy has a good week this week, and then it's always Osman, Dean and Brian, so that's Real Osman, Frowny and Rossi BFC 84. So hopefully Brian can have a good race. He's just found out that Burnley's had their first win of the season, or finally won a game. So yeah, qualifying starting now, so hopefully we get this qualifying session underway, no more issues, get the cars out on track and let's have a qualifying. My prediction for Paul, if he can hook a lap together, I would probably say Moz, because I think last week he had it as well, and I think this week he's put a bit more practice in. Definitely looking at being up there again. Whether Timmy can sort of pull a lap together, I don't know. He definitely looks good on a one lap pace. As you see, the car's just getting close, coming down this Kemmel Straight. I don't know if Brian will make a move or no. Timmy just covers him off to keep the track position. So we're probably looking at this out lap and then 2 laps. So yeah, as Shanty 84B goes off wide, and that's Tomek. He rejoins. Oh, just in front of Moz, I think that was, coming round the corner and nearly stopped his qualifying short. Yeah, as for the rest, definitely Timmy's going to be on the front row with Moz, but whoever slots in behind them is going to will be happy to be in behind them too, and I think it'll probably be Chris, or if anyone can hook up a lap. It is a tough track to get a really clean hooked up lap, as Timmy just lets a couple of cars go. Looks like he's letting a few cars go because he doesn't want to be in front of them as he gives them a tour, but he's actually close to Frowny. I don't know if he'll let Frowny and Moz go. So yeah, he's let them 2 go because he doesn't want to be giving them a tour, as Stu Shelton's actually approaching him now. So Timmy just trying to find a gap in the traffic, but he's lifted off there. Now he's got Tomek coming round, so he's got a bit of a gap now as Lee Fitzy is the last car coming round into Blanchimont now. So yeah, he's got a bit of a gap now, Timmy. Bit of clean air, but he needs to get going now because Lee Fitzy's quickly approaching. Yeah, he's left that a bit late to go there, Timmy. And I think Lee Fitzy might actually benefit if he gets close enough. Yeah, Timmy starts a lap now, so coming into this first corner, which is La Source, you want to get a good wide line and just get close to that wall, and you want to pin the throttle as hard as you can as you approach Eau Rouge. You want to, you know, this, if Eau Rouge in these cars, it should be flat, as just have a on board with Timmy. Yeah, flat through there, 174 mile an hour. So this is just one big long straight in these cars. So yeah, it's 30 seconds long, this straight. So it's a big tour to get if you're close to a car behind a car in the race and you're quite close. You know, you can definitely have a look into Le Com if you can get close enough. And Timmy's just going through the second sector now. So I think we've got Moz is going through Campos and into Stavolo. So yeah, Moz is going to be the first one to set a flying lap out of the top two guys. In front of him, we've got Chris Nervers, actually the first one. So let's have a look at Chris. He's got a free air in front of him. Nobody in the braking zone. Gets the car slowed down into first gear. So careful on the throttle, coming out straight up to second and across the line for a very respectable 58.2. Rossi coming across 59. Under 2 minutes there. Moz straight into the 57s. So yeah, Timmy now, he's actually caught Tomek on this lap. So we saw that he gave him room, and now he's actually caught up to him. He's first lap of a 58.6. So advantage Moz. Oh, and Timmy goes wide. Oh, Timmy's had enough of qualifying. So for the rest of the guys out there, Moz just sitting in behind the rear wing of Real Osman. 7/10 in front of Chris Nerve. So Chris Nerve has actually he's put himself in a good position here by getting in between Timmy and Moz. He's got himself in with the fight. So could be a good front row start here from Chris, with the rest of the guys battling for position behind. So I think we've pretty much nailed on for pole position now, unless the guys behind, Lee Fitzy's on a 59. I'm not sure what his second time's like, but we'll keep an eye on his sector times. 1.7 off pole at the minute and a 10th off the car in front of him. So he wants to get himself into the top 5 here. Lee needs to get a good lap together. He's got Tomek in front of him, which is just hampering him a bit. Tomek's not going that quickly. He's not getting out the way either. Just a bit of blocking here from Tomek. I don't think he realises he's got a car behind him. Squeezes him there. Tomek's nudging into him on the straight. Real Osman finishes his lap 59.3, so improves it. Aussie Rooster 2 minutes 7. Lee gets his braking right, takes a lot of curve. Oh, he's ruined the line there. Oh, that Tomek, what are you doing? That was a bit aggressive from Tomek there, and considering it's only qualifying. Yeah, very rough coming out of the last corner, and it's I mean, Lee wasn't going to go any quicker, but it's still not a nice manoeuvre to do just in qualifying. But there we have it. Moz on pole, Chris Nerve sneaking in there, getting in between the two quick guys, 58.2. So Timmy come out on track. He's just running round now. Frowny manages to win the battle of the top 5. Nice to see Stu Shelton up there. Lee Fitzy, Real Osman down there in 7th. Brian. So what's the gap? Yeah, it's about 7/10 separates second to 8th or 9th. So quite close. But finally, Spa race starting now. These guys have got 60 minutes. To try and set a good lap time, and sorry, not a good lap time, have a good first lap and get away. Can Moz do that? Chris is going to make it hard for him. Let's go out now. So Moz gets a relatively good start. He just overheated his tyres there, a bit too much wheel spin, but Timmy aggressive there, gets round the outside, and Chris leads. Coming out of the first corner, we've got 4 abreast off the edge of the track there, as a couple of cars get squeezed. But this is where we see the toe come into play. Moz behind Chris. He should reel him in as we see the delta times going down. Moz on the back of Chris. Yeah, you can see him getting closer and closer. He might not be close enough in the braking zone to make a manoeuvre. No, Chris just gets the car turned in. Actually, Moz goes a bit wide, and that puts Timmy on the back of him. So, going back to this battle in the mid-pack, you've got Lee Fitzy has actually managed to get up to 4th, and Frowney's dropped down to 9th. So, yeah, not a great start there from Dino. So, I wonder if he was one of the cars that got shoved off, as you see Tomek's right at the back now. So he'll be hoping to try and catch up, but Lee Fitzy leads this pack. And as for the pack in front, it's still Chris, followed by Moz, followed by Timmy, as they go through Campos. I think Chris needs to be aware that he has got 2 very quick guys behind him, but we saw that he doesn't really, we saw in the last 2 rounds, he doesn't really get flustered by the guys behind him. He seems to be able to keep a level head and just drive his own race. And actually the 3 Audis out in front pulling away from the from Lee in the Toyota. So Moz gets a better run out of there than Timmy. Timmy seems to have dropped back a bit. Moz goes to the outside. Chris gets a good late break and gets in the corner first. So 1 lap down, Chris has managed to keep the lead. He will be looking to keep that lead. Moz gets a good run on the outside. Don't know if Chris missed a gear there, but Chris will force him on the outside line. Moz just takes it round the outside, and Chris very slow for that first corner. Has actually brought Timmy. Timmy gets a bit of a wiggle on the curb there, but Moz just was able to use the grip on the outside and drive straight on the outside of Chris. So Chris now finds himself in a position where he was leading to now defending 2nd place. And actually Lee Fitzy isn't that far behind him as well. Timmy pulls out and should get this move done on the inside. Yeah, gets that move done. Chris goes from 1st to 3rd in a couple of corners. And if he's not careful, he might find Lee Fitzy, but he's actually coming back at Timmy. Can he get close enough towards the end of the lap to make a move into the chicane? He'll certainly hope so. Still this battle rages on. We've got Stu Shelton on the back of Frowney now. So Frowney's made up 1 position. As Stu Shelton goes for it into Puon. I said someone would be brave to go for a manoeuvre into there, but he tried it. As we see, the battle for 3rd's actually closing up, as we've got Chris has got Lee and Osman both gaining on him. So he needs to get a move on, does Chris, if he wants to keep this 3rd place. Coming up around lap 2. Timmy is just behind Moz, and actually his front 5 are really close together. And Aussie Rooster in 6th has made a good first start of this race, and he seems to be not that far behind. Moz sets a 58.1, the car's behind 58.7, 2 minutes 6, 58, 59. So apart from the guys at the front, the guys behind seem to be all close together. And Aussie Rooster in 6th seems to be on his own at the minute. He's got a gap, 2 second gap in front and 2 second gap behind. So I think Aussie just wants to keep calm and have a decent race. From there, he should be able to have a good race from there. Is Aussie Rooster? He always finds himself in the mix. Didn't have the greatest of races at Brazil, but can't always have a good race every week. As we see 5 cars on the same bit of tarmac now, they all pile into Puon. 2nd between 2nd and 3rd, and then I think 3rd to 5th separated by 1.5 seconds. So that's the battle at the minute. The rest of the guys behind seem to be pretty separated, apart from Frowny and Aussie Rooster. Commentator's curse. Yeah, Aussie Rooster's dropped from 6th to 9th, so not a good. He's had an issue somewhere. But yeah, this battle for 7th. Stu Shelton a bit far behind, but go back to the battle for 2nd as it is now. So Osman is closing in on Lee in the braking zone. Lee closing in on Chris. Timmy doesn't seem to be that far away either, and actually Moz hasn't made a great break for it. And actually on that last lap, Moz was still the quickest. Chris set his personal best, which is 1.5 seconds off what he did on the 2nd lap, which was when he was getting overtaken by a couple of cars. So he's into the 59th now, Chris. He's not that far off Timmy. He has got Lee in his mirrors though, so he needs to be. It's sort of a catch-22 situation: is does he attack or does he defend? But at the minute, neither are close enough, as Lee actually gets a braking right into that corner, closes right up into the back of Chris, and these two will probably want to try and keep this as clean as possible, because Real Osman's right there to take advantage, and he will be through if there's a gap. Whereas the guys behind, there's now 3 for 6th. Brian and Dino seem to find themselves together, and Stu Shelton's actually following Dino onto the back of Brian. So Stu Shelton having a better race this week, finds himself with a couple of cars. So yeah, we've got a few battles in these first 10 minutes. We've got a few battles seeming to start now, as we've got Lee Fitzy's dropped off the back of Chris, and actually Real Osman's closing him down. He will get the tour through Blanchimont. Whether he can pull off a manoeuvre into the last chicane, he certainly looks like he's in a position to, if he can dive out late. No, they sort of neutralised in the braking there, as Lee gets a good run through there. So Moz sets another fastest lap of 58.0, he does now. Timmy just in there behind him on a 58.6, so he's just opened that gap up a bit. Moz now to just over 2 seconds. Timmy just ahead of, 2 seconds ahead of Chris. And Brian has got his drop. Well, Dino seems to have dropped Stu Shelton, who's actually fell into the clutches of Aussie Rooster. So Dino coming up Eau Rouge. He's going to be in the tow of Brian. Not quite close enough to make a move, I don't think. He's certainly trying unnerve him as he sets the fastest first sector. That's what the tour does. It gives you a good lap time boost, and he saw how much he was able to close on Brian, but just in the end he wasn't close enough to dive on the inside. Seems to be a few battles. It's sort of settling down now a bit, I think, as the guys are just getting into the race. It's going to be a long. It's the same track, time duration. Sorry, but it's not. It's a different track. It's a long lap is Spa, and there's a lot comes up on you. You're always busy. I think the only break you get is obviously in these cars are flat up Eau Rouge, but you still got to work the steering and get the lines right to not run over track limits or hit the curb wrong and end yourself, find yourself facing the opposite way in the wall at the top. So Lee still has Real Osman all over the back of him. He seems to have fell away from Chris Nerve, as Chris Nerve, actually Timmy is the first to pit, so Timmy gets off them super softs. I wonder if we're going to see him move on to the softs as we saw him at Brazil. But as we go back to this battle for 3rd place, Lee just struggled with the fronts and getting the front turned in there. But Timmy comes out in 5th, another set of super softs. So just over 10 minutes gone. The fronts on Lee's cars look like they've worked quite hard. Osman's is a little better, but not much. But Lee actually had a 0.5 time penalty, so he got Eau Rouge wrong there. Drops 3/10 of that in the braking zone. As he closes up to the back of Chris. So these guys all battling for second place now. Lee trying to lose that a bit there. He lost a bit of the penalty, but still exactly 2/10 that he has to lose. As for Moz out in front, yeah, he's 58-0. He's settling into his consistency that we've seen from the first 2 rounds from Moz. So he'll be pretty happy with that, Moz. I think he'll be looking to get a win. And now that Timmy's pitted early, it might put him in a position where he finds himself trying to push to keep that second place from the 3 guys ahead of him. So he's going to have to overtake these guys on the road before he has to pit again, just to give himself a chance of guaranteeing that second place. But Chris Nerve seems to have picked up the pace a little bit. He's running consistent laps. We've seen 59.1 as Chris loses it coming out of the last corner, I think. Just managed to gather it up and keep the same gap, but you see Timmy's using that extra grip, and he's going to be right on the back of these guys. I think by the time they get into the middle sector, he definitely benefit from the tour. So see Lee Fitzy going up Eau Rouge, chasing after Chris. Real Osman just coming up over the top, chasing after Lee, and then Timmy follows into the shot behind the rest of them. So these guys will be hunting each other down. Aussie Rooster side by side with Frowny. Frowny's got the inside line. Aussie Rooster might try and brave it around the outside. I think Frowny's been in for a pit stop, so yeah, he manages to get that move done. Brian actually is the first one to move over to the softs, I think. Yep, he is. See Timmy not quite closed in as much as I thought he might, but Lee seems to be settling into a groove now, and hopefully he can for himself try and get on the back of Chris Nerve. But now, yeah, see there through them difficult corners, Timmy's managed to get onto the back of Real Osman. It's just go out of shot and come back into shot now. He's going to use the speed of that Audi down the straight. Could try and get round the inside if he can, but I think Osman might cover him off if he's coming into the pits. Timmy's very close, tucked up under the rear wing, but yeah, Timmy has the inside, and that should be move done. Yeah, Osman didn't fight that at all. He didn't even turn the car in to defend the position. I think he realises that Timmy's been in the pits and he just needs to concentrate on his own. Actually, Timmy goes quickest with a 57.5, so that's sort of I think it's quicker than what Moz's pole time was, so Timmy's definitely pushing. He said he's good at firing new tyres up, and he's certainly done that now. It's going to be on the back of Lee soon, and Lee needs to attack Chris. So Lee Fitzy finds himself in the on the road 3rd place, but it's probably going to be 4th place once he does his pit stop. Still has a chance of getting that podium. He's down in joint points with Brian and Dean, so he is doing well for his to move himself up. He's got Osman behind him, which is he's now got Timmy. Timmy's using that extra grip. He's all over the back of Lee. Lee defends the inside down into Pouon. Yeah, Timmy's not close enough, and I don't think he'll risk a manoeuvre going into there. But Lee, yeah, Timmy just backed off a little bit through the entry and just got a good exit, but Lee's still defending that inside. This is holding Timmy up. Timmy wants to be down the road and getting after Moz. He looks to the inside. Timmy breaks late. Lee doesn't fight him, but can Osman take advantage of this? He's going to be close. Go on board with Real Osman as he's going to get a tow off the Yorkie liveried Lee Fitzy in the Toyota. Actually, and Osman's in the Porsche, so close as we come in the bus stop chicane. Osman moves to the inside. Can he brake late? No, he doesn't risk it. Lee just gets the car stopped quicker there. I think Osman's thinking about using the Kemmel straight. If he gets a good run out this first corner, try and make Lee defend. Lee doesn't defend, he keeps his same line. Osman just forks his nose down the inside, and actually Lee goes wide. They're going to go side by sides through Eau Rouge. Let's hope this comes out clean, fellas. Oh yeah, Lee just manages to get in front. I think Osman probably let that one go. He was all over the back of Lee Fitzy. This is close for 4th place. Osman moves to the inside. Yeah, move doing a thing. Yeah, he gets that move done, but in front, you see Timmy's used that extra grip and he's now on the back of Chris. He's making quick meat of these cars. He goes around the outside. Great move that, yeah, just see the benefit of having that extra grip as we see the tyres on Chris's car compared to the tyres on Timmy's car. Yeah, pretty much won. Chris is actually getting a 0.5 penalty, so I think that's from running wide. Yeah, coming out of that left-hander, he loses a couple of tenths there, but Osman's pushing on these worn tyres now. He seems to have got himself into a rhythm on these worn tyres. He's actually empty fuel. As I think a couple of these guys, actually Chris seems to have used the fuel better than Osman has. Maybe he's fuel saving now because Osman's got a really good tow on the Audi. He's not going to go for it into Blanchimont, is he? Yeah, he just pokes his nose on the inside, but he's not going to make a manoeuvre. Chris doesn't need to defend as he's not close enough. Loses a couple of tenths of that penalty and Osman pits. So just as Osman started getting on the back of Chris, he decides that he's had enough and wants to put some fuel in. But up at the front, Moz his lap times have started to drop off a little bit as we see that his tyres are starting to show signs of wear and his fuel's going down, so he will have a light car but on very worn tyres. Timmy is pushing now, so when Moz pits, which I don't think it'll be quite yet, but when he does, can Timmy close that gap down? It's 8.5 at the moment. I'm not quite sure how much you lose for pit stop, but it'll certainly be it'll be close when they come out, as these two guys are still together on the track. Chris Nerve still in that 3rd place as he has been for nearly, well, for 9 of the laps. He led the first lap and then he just had to defend in the first corner. Moz went straight around the outside of him. I'm not sure if Chris actually missed a gear on the start-finish straight, but he definitely lost some speed, and then coming out of the corner he just didn't get the exit, and then Timmy was able to close on him and pass him later on down the Kemmel straight. But he has got into 3rd place. He has been there even though he's had pressure from Lee. He's had pressure from obviously Real Osman when he's been there. He has actually pitted and he's found himself with Aussie Rooster in front of him. So Aussie Rooster's now in 6th after making that mistake. Actually Moz pits now, so Timmy's actually pitted as well, so I wonder if Timmy didn't put enough fuel in. So Timmy's pushed for them 4 laps, and he hasn't managed to get many laps out of that, so I wonder if he'll fill the car up now and then come back out. But definitely not a long pit stop from Timmy there. Yeah, 3/4 of a tank now on fresh super softs. Comes out well ahead, and Osman's going to be close with. Where's Chris? There's Chris there. Lee Fitzy. So Chris is going to be side by side with Real Osman. Here we go through Eau Rouge. Real Osman gets it done. Now on couple of laps worn tyres than Chris is. Well, one lap, but Chris has just come out the pits. He's in the tow, pulls to the inside. Oh, that's a late brake there from Chris. He managed to get the car right on the curb and takes the apex, and that's move done. So a good move that from Chris. He lost it in the undercut, but he manages to get the position, and actually Real Osman's in quite a bit ahead of Lee Fitzy. So I wonder if Lee Fitzy's Lee Fitzy's brimmed the tank, whereas Chris has done the same. Osman's been out for a couple of laps, and it doesn't look like he quite filled the tank anyway. So he's close to Chris through Pro-Am. He's practically pushing him round. He looks to have the inside line. Tricky corner on the inside there. You're best off getting the sweep around the outside, which Chris does. He's pushing now. Needs to be careful coming out of this corner at Stavolo and then through Blanchimont. Don't know if Osman's close enough to have a look on the inside, but he will try and get the toe and use it. Try and get himself close enough. Keep himself close for Eau Rouge and then up the camera straight, but he doesn't look like he's close enough now. He's half a second off. So he needs to try and be in 3/10 to really benefit and get past. As I see Stu Shelton in 6th there. So Stu Shelton's in the 59s. He's got new super softs on. He's into 59.0, so yeah, he seems to be putting a few laps together. Timmy, after that pit stop, he's 3.8. So as you can see from Timmy's there, if we just look at Timmy's, he's just over half a tank. Moz, yeah, just below full. So that's why Timmy's so close. He hasn't put enough fuel in, but Osman's going to have a look around the outside. Chris defends the inside line. The two Welsh guys going at it for this 3rd place. Lee Fitzy, the other Welsh, is not that far behind. Actually, he's closing in because Chris had to defend that corner. It just slowed these two guys up, and that made Lee Fitzy be able to close the gap down. Yeah, so he's a second off Osman. And if these guys keep fighting, he will be closer, and we could have a 3-way scrap for 3rd place. So hopefully this continues for the next 36 minutes, as we're probably going to be entering another pit stop phase, around 20 minutes remaining. So it looks like this race is going to be a 2-stop for these guys. Oh, and Osman jumps up in the air, and I think he was taken out by Tomac there, and that Tomac getting lapped has taken out Osman, and that doesn't look good for the new guy. Pulling over to the side of the track as he carries on his way. But that was not a great move there from the lapped car. He's actually put Osman down in 6th, and he's got Frowny all over him. Frowny goes to the outside. Frowny can make this move if he keeps the inside. He does and gets that move done. That puts Stu Shelton up into 5th. And now Lee Fitzy's got a clear road ahead of him to attack Chris Nerve. So Lee Fitzy was in 5th, now in 4th, and with a chance of getting a podium. So he has recovered from his mishaps that he had last week. Now closing in on what could be a podium position, and his first podium of the season. Chris is just coming through the long hairpin. Stu Shelton just comes into view as well, so he's not that far behind. So he'll be hoping for a good result as we see Tomac leaving. You know, we saw a couple of incidents from Tomac there, qualifying, running across the front of Lee Fitzy, coming out the last corner, getting lapped and then taking out Osman. Two incidents that we'll be talking about after the race, and I wonder if the stewards will look at giving a harsh penalty for them, because two incidents that you don't really expect from two situations that would normally be fairly easy. Lee Fitzy in the race though, pushing up onto the back of Chris. He's closed that gap down to half a second now. So as for Stu Shelton, yeah, Stu Shelton's just dropped off a bit, so he's got nothing to worry about from behind. He just needs to focus on going forwards. Oh, Chris Nerves spun. He didn't need to concentrate on going forward. Chris Nerves made a mistake. That's very uncharacteristic of Chris Nerve. We never normally see that. As he continues on his way, and he's actually nearly back onto the front bumper of Osman, as Osman's looking to get past Frowney. Still stuck behind the 12 liveried car. Hopefully he can have a go, but Chris Nerve making a mistake there. We don't normally see that. He's normally pretty reliable, is Chris, when he's the car in front. So sadly Chris Nerve makes a mistake and he finds himself in 5th, 27 seconds off the lead now, and probably around 10 seconds off his podium that he was holding on to well. He was defending. He wasn't under too much pressure, but sadly he's made a mistake, and that's not what we like to see. But the guys at the front, we haven't seen them for a few laps. Moz still has a comfortable 3-second lead, but he's looked pretty comfortable all race, as Moz. Normally we don't see a qualifying out of Moz. We don't normally see him sticking it on pole. We normally see him just in behind, and then he works his way up through the race by using these different strategies. But by using them strategies this week and being out in front, I think this is what he wants to do with the strategies that he has. Obviously looking after the tyres and staying consistent, this is where it gets him. But Timmy's not that far behind, and actually Timmy's probably the quicker car at the moment. A few tenths he's got on the guy in front of him, which is Moz. Lee Fitzy's just coming around the last corner now. Stu Shelton relatively happy in 4th. Chris Nerves trying to recover, as he's got the two guys actually closing him down. So Chris Nerve maybe just getting rid of some of that dirt that was on his tyres from going off. Say hello to the guys in the chat. Hopefully you're enjoying this race. Coming up to halfway, and probably think that Moz and Timmy's probably going to be the ones to break away further. As Chris Nerve, I don't know if that's track limits there. He would be pretty close with the penalty there. Yeah, it's actually the car behind Frowney who gets one. Chris Nerve manages to escape the penalty. Osman will see that from Dino and try and put a bit of pressure on, but Dino actually looks the quicker of these three cars at the moment. So probably next 10 minutes we'll see somebody start coming into the pits. Stu Shelton still in 4th, Lee Fitzy in 3rd in the 59, so I think Lee will be happy if he can stay there with no mistakes. It's obviously going to be one of them races for Lee where he's so far nailed on for a podium, but can he stay there? And he just needs to concentrate on his own race and stay consistent. As for Stu Shelton, he'll be probably wanting to keep the pace up, because he'll probably realise that the guys behind Chris, as we see Timmy in the pits again, to go on to another set of super softs. I would be guessing so. Probably to fill the tank up as well. 29 minutes remaining, probably won't get that out of a full tank. Actually only puts half in, so a short stint for Timmy as he wants to close that gap to Moz, which is now 15 seconds. So yeah, pit stops depending on how much fuel in, looking to be losing around 12 to 20 seconds. And Timmy's lost about, as he loses a bit of time going through the straights, yeah, seems to be around 12.5 seconds that he's lost. So he needs to make up, you know, we know he had a gap of 2.5 seconds to Moz, so if we want to make that up, and then hopefully Moz comes into the pits and fills the car up again. But then Timmy will have to make another pit stop after that, so he needs to get a move on and try and put some purple sectors together. See, he's already taken 8/10 out in that first sector, so a good drive this from Timmy. Lee Fitzy only 5 seconds behind him as well, so Lee Fitzy's put himself in with a good chance of maybe getting another position if he can stay within range and Timmy has to pit again. See how Osman's getting on now. He's still behind Frowny. Frowny's actually the guy on the move at the moment. He's closing down Chris Nerve. Chris Nerve trying to recover from that mistake that he did at this corner here. I think I didn't see it on the onboard, but I'm guessing he took too much curb and spun the car round. It's lost him quite a few positions, as he was in third, but it's lost him a load of time, and now he's under pressure from Dino. So Dino will be looking to gain another position and hopefully continue his rise up the field. 5th place for him last week after a battle with Brian and Real Osman all race. So he's looking at 4th place here, and he looks like he's going to get the tour down the straight. 3/10 off, getting closer. I don't think he's going to be close enough to make a move in the braking zone. No, Chris just manages to get the car stopped, but it has brought Dino closer, and he'll be wanting to get past Chris and keep that 4th place. But after the pit stops, I don't know what Chris is going to be like on new tyres. He's 9.7 seconds off Lee, so see who's the quicker driver at the minute. Actually, Chris is bringing Frowny closer to Lee. I'm not sure if they're going to catch him before the end of this race. We've got 26 minutes remaining, so another 14 laps to go. Guys at the front, however, have had a pretty easy race. Moz has definitely had a easy race, as that gap's now down to 13 seconds. So Timmy's definitely bringing it down. He's got a penalty though. Loses it in the braking zone pretty much. He's got a little bit left. Crosses the line for a 58.4. And Moz is in the 58 as well, so he's not actually gaining that much. As for Stu Shelton, he's made a pit stop, so he finds himself down in 7th pretty much on his own. Frowny comes into pit, so it might be close between Frowny and Stu Shelton, depending on how much fuel Dean puts in. So Dean's going to come out of the pits. Now Dean comes out of the pit lane. Yeah, he's behind Stu Shelton still, so no positions gained there. Going board with Aussie Rooster, who's not actually that far off the pair of them. Brian finds himself quite a bit far back now. Must be a difficult race for Brian this week. 54 seconds off Aussie, so yeah, Brian's not having a good race this week. Timmy is now 11.9 seconds off Moz, so he's starting to get that gap down a lot. He is pushing the car. He's got about a quarter of a tank left. As you see him go purple by 2.5 tenths in that middle sector. Timmy's probably pushing on for a 56 lap, which is going to be a really quick lap time. I'm not sure when we'll see Moz pit. He hasn't come in this lap, so Moz is probably going to go for another lap and then pit, but Timmy's going to try and close him down. He needs to close him down before he makes that pit stop. So first and second could be quite close at the end of this race. Same goes for third. Chris Nerves looks like he's starting to close down Lee Fitzy now. Chris in the low 59s, Lee in the high 59s. So close to a second difference in lap time, as Chris actually does a 59.7 and Lee did a 59.8, so only a tenth gained on that lap. Real Osman comes into the pits. His tyres look really worn on the front. Certainly the back ones look a bit more worn than they did on the first stint. I wonder how much fuel he takes on board. Frowney looks to close in Stu Shelton, who's only 3 seconds ahead of him. So Frowney looking for a top 5 finish. After his pit stop, he might try and close on Chris and Lee as well if he can help it. He goes a bit wide coming up Eau Rouge there. He just catches a bit of curb on the inside. Frowney just trying to get rid of a penalty as well. So the gap between Timmy and Moz now is 10 seconds, so we know that Timmy's going to have to make another pit stop. We know Moz is going to have to make another pit stop. Timmy's actually done the fastest lap of the race of a 57.4, so he's pushing now. Moz I don't think is coming to the pits this lap, so Timmy's going to want to try and get that under 10 seconds, or even under 9 seconds, to give himself a chance of winning this race. Another 57 there from Timmy, and see what Moz is in the 59, so yeah, Timmy's a 1.5 seconds quicker. See how much fuel Moz has got on board. They're about the same fuel wise, but Timmy has made a couple of extra pit stops compared to what Moz has. So I think that this gap could come down before the pit stops, as they both probably going to make a pit stop around the same time, as both cars hit near enough empty fuel on the same time there. 9.8 seconds is the gap. Chris Nerves just coming through Eau Rouge. Yeah, he looks like he's due a pit stop soon, as that front left's got quite a bit of wear on that tyre, as well as the rears. Stu Shelton manages to get into the 58, so he'll be happy with a 58 lap time as well. As we come into the last 20 minutes of this race, I think we'll probably see a few guys starting to close in on their positions that they want now, and a couple of guys trying to cement their positions. Stu Shelton being one of them. He wants to stay in this 5th place, but he's got Frowney chasing him down. Yeah, Chris Nerve's actually on empty now, so he'll be wanting to come into the pits this lap, I'm guessing. The gap between Moz and Timmy's down to 8.7, and I should think that these guys are going to pit this lap. There's a guy ahead of them, as that Brian comes into the pits ahead of Moz. Yeah, Moz pits now. I expect Timmy to do the same. Yeah, Timmy does the same as well, so both guys into the pits for what should be their final stops in this final 20 minutes of the race. Both on Rutler. Yeah, 4% for Timmy and 3% for Moz. So both guys will be wanting to fill the tank up, I should think, as Lee Fitzey joins them in the pits as well. So Timmy's out of the pits first, just under half, so Timmy's actually under-fueled. I don't know whether that's trying to get a pit stop on Moz, but the gap's only 1.2 and Timmy's only put 50% in. Well, not even 50%, it's about 45, so Timmy's got a different strategy to what Moz has. Moz is fueled for the rest of the race. Same tyre as Timmy, so could get interesting. Stu Shelton finds himself in third after not making a pit stop yet. He's in the 58, so he's pretty much on the same time as well, it's actually quicker than Lee was on that stint. So Stu Shelton might actually look at extending this and trying to get that third place, but we have a couple of guys that might be chasing him down. I know Chris Nerve, he will definitely be trying to recover from that early mistake. Frowney's just in front of him. He looks like he's made a pit stop recently as well, and he looks quite quick. 58.1 is his quickest lap time, which is not far off the leaders, but it's actually the same pace as what Moz is running. So some good times being set here from a couple of the guys behind who were looking to get themselves back into this race. See how Real Osman's doing after being taken out by a lapped car. Yeah, he sort of got stuck now in 7th place, 15 seconds behind Chris and 17 seconds ahead of Aussie Rooster. So he's in no man's land a bit now. He doesn't need to worry about any cars at the minute. Brian definitely doesn't need to worry about any cars apart from if he gets catched by the leaders maybe. No, he should have enough time with 17 minutes to get away. Moz 2.5 seconds behind Timmy, so Timmy's definitely trying to push to get away from Moz. Where this fueling takes him to, he'll obviously have to make another pit stop, but he might decide to try and fuel save and go to the end, but I don't think he will. Stu Shelton's actually pulling a bit away, 59.3 on that lap. Lee's been into the pit, so we can't really tell what Lee's done. Certainly looks like there's going to be a couple of battles for the podium this race. We haven't really seen that from the last 2 races. We haven't seen certainly at least 4 cars in with a shout of getting 3rd place and 2 fighting for the win, both on different strategies. Moz going to the end on a full tank of fuel, Timmy half filling the tank and pushing for some purple lap times to try and get away. 3 seconds it is. To have a chance of winning this race, I would expect Timmy to need to have a gap of about 6 or 7 seconds when he comes in, because he won't need to put that much fuel in. He'll be able to push till the end. So there'll be about 8 laps for Timmy, so I would expect he'd go for another 3 and then pit, depending on what the gap is, because at the end he doesn't want to have too many laps to try and catch Moz back up, because Moz will just defend and then take the win. But Timmy, as he set to 57.3, so Timmy's definitely on the pace now. He has been setting purple lap times all race, 57.5s and a 57.4, and he's just found another 10th there with a 57.3. So he's definitely pushing his Timmy. He's trying to get away, he's building the gap. 3rd place is Stu Shelton. He decides still not to pit. He doesn't need to when he's not under pressure. Another 59.1, which is actually the same lap time as what Lee's done. Tyres wise, Stu Shelton's don't actually look that bad, but Frowney comes around the first corner and he's closing on them now. Chris Nerve in 6th, he's closing on them. They're all on the same pace. So this could become a 4-way scrap for 3rd, with maybe Stu Shelton due another pit stop. So could get interesting for third. As for the positions behind, Osman I think is pretty much nailed on for 7th unless something happens ahead. Aussie Rooster's the same. He's on a race of his own at the minute in 8th place. Brian's getting caught by Timmy at the moment, so he doesn't want to be holding up the leaders, and I don't think Brian will. I think he'll get out of the way. Yeah, Brian. Oh, Brian has a sideways moment. Yeah, and he has no choice but to let the leader through. Spins around on the gravel. Moz comes through. Yeah, avoids him there. So unlucky for Brian that he ends up in the gravel there after what's looked to be a trouble race to start with. And now we see Lee's closing on Stu. Stu has just hit 0 fuel, so he'll be coming in this lap. I would expect he'd get away with about 60-70% fuel, so he won't have a long pit stop. Oh, as he goes wide and he's caught on the curb there, he doesn't want to be out there. Yeah, just loses him a bit of time now as Lee gains on him. So just at the end of this stint, see Stu Shelton finally starting to struggle on these tyres. He's been on them for around 7 laps, so this is what his next stint's going to be as he peels off into the pits. Frowney comes round and Frowney will take 4th, Lee Fitzy will take 3rd, and I expect Chris Nerve will probably take 5th yet, as he's not that far behind. He actually dips into 58th now. But Timmy's flying at the front. Timmy's actually just set a 57.1 and the gap's now 5.3 seconds. So Timmy's just hit empty fuel as well, so looks like Timmy could be on a recovery drive from 2nd to 1st. We see Stu Shelton's actually took 73% fuel on, so that'll do him till the end of the race, which I expect Timmy to do the same. Timmy will only need around, well, 65, 60. As for the length of pit stop, I expect that'll be around a 9 or 10 second pit stop, so he's going to come out with about 5 seconds to try and gain on Moz at the end as he sets another purple sector. He's been in and around dipping into the 56s, so he needs to get that gap up to at least 6 seconds in this braking zone. If he can gain a few more tenths on Moz, he'll be looking at coming out and then trying to catch him. So Timmy looks like he's going to peel off into the pits this time around. He does. So we need to see what the gap is when he comes out. Hopefully it's not too much, and we want to see a battle for the lead as Moz goes past him and retakes the lead on a 58.4 he set, so he's 1.3 seconds off the pace set by Timmy. So Timmy will have that in hand when he comes out of the pits. See what Timmy does for percentage of fuel. Comes out of the pits now, it's exactly 60%. Oh, and that gap's gone up to 11.5 seconds, so that's a lot of time that Timmy needs to gain back. As we see, Frowney comes into the pits now from 5th place. Stu Shelton could get him here if he pushes through this last corner. He goes wide, gets on the marbles a bit, but he manages to recover. Chris Nerve's back up into 4th after his drama early on. Stu Shelton comes around the first corner and see Frowney's just exiting the pits. Stu Shelton, it's going to be tight as we go up to Eau Rouge. Stu Shelton's still gaining, but it looks like Frowney's got him in the pits. So Stu, I thought he might be in with a hunt of 3rd, but he's just on the back foot at the minute. As Lee Fitzy, he won't be due another pit stop. Chris won't be due another pit stop. So for now, it's Lee Fitzy in 3rd and Chris 4th, Frowney 5th, and then Stu in 6th. As for the battle at the front, gap's 11.7 seconds between Timmy and Moz. So Timmy put a bit more fuel in the car, and it will hamper him for a few laps as he's on the exact same amount as Moz now fuel wise. So if Timmy can do the same getting to the 57s on this amount of fuel, then he will have a chance of catching Moz, but 11.7 seconds is a big gap to try and get down in the last 10 minutes of this race, so we'll see what he can do. Oh, Timmy just gets a bit too much throttle coming out the last corner and Lee spins the car. Manages to catch it on the exit though. So that gap's now gone up to 12 seconds. So Moz looks like he's going to be in control of this race till the end if Timmy doesn't catch him at least a second and a half a lap, but it needs to be a bit more if he wants to have time to overtake as well. As for Chris Nerve, he's just on his own in 5th. There's have a little bit of lag there from Chris Nerve. Nothing too much to worry about. Lee Fitzy just goes up Eau Rouge, comes over the top of it down the Kemmel Straight and sees Brian in front of him. So he'll be coming up the lap Brian very shortly. Just had a little bit of a flash of the lights to let Brian know he's coming. That's a purple first sector. And Stu Shelton found himself in 7th. So where's Real Osman come from? So didn't see Real Osman come through. So yeah, he's managed to get ahead of Frowny and Stu Shelton. Yeah, so I don't know what's happened there, but yeah, Real Osman's in front of Frowny. So Frowny just come through to chase after Osman. I don't know where Osman's managed to get through. But it looks like Frowny's just made a pit stop not that long ago. Yeah, as we saw he got out in front of Stu Shelton. So not long left in this race and we have a few guys still quite close. I mean, I think the battle for first is going to be... Yeah, I think it's pretty much done, the battle for first, but Timmy's drove well. You know, he has, you know, normally set the fastest lap times in every race that he's done. Hasn't consistently been in the 57s, but he's consistently been the pace setter. But it's just Moz is just so consistent and just looks after the tyres so well that if he's out in front like he has been, then it's just so hard. You're always on the back foot when a guy like that has a strategy that he can make work, and you're always chasing. But as we go in near the final 6 minutes, the guys, I think, got 6 watching. If a few of you have been watching this race throughout, then just put in the comments driver of the days, anything you want to ask about the races or anything as we approach the last 6 minutes. Personally, my drive of the day, I will probably give it to Lee Fitzy. I know he's the 3rd place driver, but he has drove a great race, as well as I was going to give it to Stu Shelton, but I think Stu Shelton has just dropped away at this second half in the race, and I thought he might have been up there for the top 3. But if anybody else has any ideas for driver of the day, then just let us know. Yeah, Timmy's a bit off his pace now, just with a heavier car. 11.2 seconds. He's still catching Moz, but not at the rate that Moz needs to be concerned about. So he is still pushing Timmy. Just gets the car. Ooh, does a little bit of a wiggle as the front end doesn't quite bite enough into the first corner. Coming through the first corner now, the gap's now down to 9.7. So as Moz made a mistake, because the last lap time was 59.0 and a 59.8. Timmy's tyres definitely look in better condition, so I don't know if Timmy's been looking after them a bit to try and push now, but that lap time's gone down to 10.5. The delta time's gone down to 10, yeah, about 10.5 seconds, but 5 minutes left. 2 or 3 laps, he's not going to get 5 seconds each lap. So although he has caught up a little bit, I don't think Don't think that time's coming down to the point where Timmy's in the chance to make an overtake. But Stu Shelton, yep, he could still get driver of the day. I don't see anybody else commenting, guys. Just if you see anybody that you thought had a good race, just let us know. We can certainly get them in and interview them afterwards. I'm sure a couple of these guys would appreciate if they got a couple of votes. But Stu Shelton, 6th place, chasing down 5th. So hopefully this race for 5th isn't over. Lap times wise they're pretty much the same. Osman behind just struggled, I think, with worn tyres a bit. Chris Nev in 4th. 7.5 seconds to Lee Fitzy, so yeah, he's a bit off the podium, but he'll be happy with 4th considering that he made that mistake. But he'll be angry with himself because he knows he was pretty much nailed on 3rd. And he's been one of them drivers that's been at the top, in this top 4 position every week. Even when, you know, Luke was back, he was still there in 3rd, defending from Lee. He did I think he had a mistake at Lee as well, where he just went a bit wide, but that wasn't him under pressure. That was just him. I think it was just worn tyres. He just didn't. It was the first race. I don't think he really judged how the car was going. But 57. So Moz is now in the 57. So he's closed the gap. He's opened that gap up to 11.5 again, and Timmy's in the 59, so Timmy's dropped away off there. As yes, Ben, the driver of the day is normally the winner, but we normally get the winner in for an interview anyway. So I know I said Lee, but it's nice to see you guys that have drove a good race behind him, because yeah, definitely Moz has been a good guy to watch in this race. He's definitely pushed and he's definitely made the strategy work. And I don't think Timmy will kick himself, but he won't be happy with the strategy choice that he made. As he finds himself now 11 seconds down the road, in a place that he would like to have done. Frowny, yeah, Frowny's had a good race in 5th. He's been on the pace pretty much. Now he's actually pulled away from Stu Shelton. So yeah, Frowny could be one. Every time I get him in though, I had him in for the first night and I couldn't get him out. So yeah, we could see Frowny in there. Timmy's going to be joining us hopefully after the race for an interview. Stu Shelton. Oh, what could have been for Stu Shelton? Another race that I think I bigged him up because I thought, oh, he looks like he's doing well this race, and then yeah, he just dropped back a bit, but still, you know, he's still picking up points and he's ahead of Oddie Rooster, who's in front of him. Obviously Lee will gain a few points because Lee's on the podium, but yeah, Dean's just in front of him. He's in front of Osman, and Luke isn't here tonight, and Luke can only do Sardegna, so that's one position that he could try and gain from. Lee Fitzy just goes there. I don't know if he's getting rid of a penalty, but the gap in front 11.9 is yeah, they're both in the 58th now. This will be the last lap as well, so these guys have started the last lap. Brian just there at the back. I don't think he's had a good race today, Brian. I don't think he'll be happy with himself. I don't know if he's had some issues or if he's just struggled with the car this week. But I was expecting Brian to be right up there, as I saw last week. I know that he was looking forward to it and he was actually setting some good times, so I don't know if he hasn't had a good week this week or some lobby settings haven't been oh, Dino's empty. Stu Shelton's got a bit more fuel, so I don't know if Dino at the end of this lap will actually have to try and save and Stu Shelton can gain on him. As for the guys ahead, Chris Neves looks like he's comfortable in 4th. Lee Fitzy's pretty much thereabouts in 3rd place, but Moz, what a drive from Moz. No doubt about it that he's definitely deserved this race win today. Again, using the strategy to his benefit, got pole position this week, which we don't normally see him doing. But Moz, 1978 in the Snickers car. take a bow, son, because you were the winner of Spa, and that is what a race to win. Great race from Moz. Timmy, he's coming into the last corner now, pretty much disappointed with his race. He thinks I was expecting him to win this race. He definitely looked like the quicker driver. Comes across the line, still in second, still lead the championship by 1 point. Yeah, so great race there. Lee Fitzy, pretty well done there from Lee Fitzy, but he'll be happy with a third place. Flashes the lights, definitely happy with the podium. Well done, Lee. Chris Nerve, I would probably give my drive of the day to Chris Nerve, to be fair. Just for the simple fact that he made a mistake and he recovered to fourth. But it's a difficult decision as we stay. These two guys are definitely in contention to drive the day. What a race from Frowney. 5th place again this week, so well done. Stu Shelton, very good to see him back up there in 6th place. Osman, it's a shame, he got taken out by the lapped car, and he hasn't been able to recover since. He was running good, but Osman, fair play for sticking with it and carrying on. Aussie Rooster, not that far behind in 8th, crosses the line, so Aussie Rooster still takes some points. Osman takes some points, but at the end of a long race, Moz 1978 takes the victory, and no doubt about it that he deserved that race. Well, we managed to get Spa done. 60 minutes has gone by. Well, what a race from the guys. I think that there's a few guys who will be disappointed with their race. I think there's also a few guys that will be really happy with the race. I definitely think that Chris Nerve should be happy with himself. So well done to the guys tonight. Moz just worked. It just worked for him, didn't it? It just worked for him, that race. He did really well. Stu Shelton, good race from Stu this week. Did really well. As for driver of the day, I'm going to make a decision. I am going to give it to Chris. I know it's not easy for a driver to make a mistake. He did lead the first couple of laps. Well, a lap and a bit. So yeah, but yeah, an overall good race. So 60 minutes, you know, we still saw a good few battles there. A few guys stuck with us and watched the rest of the race. You know, we had a trouble at the start again, but we're not going to gloss over that. We're not going to go over that. We don't need to. As I said last week, if you look at my notes from last week's race, when we had the interview, when we had the problems with the internet and the servers, you know, my notes pretty much, pretty much go like this. So the cars off the grid, La Source, down into Road Rouge, side by side, up Kemmel. Oh, we go through Le Combe, there's a car. Oh, crap. We've lost connection. There's beep beep, shit. Oh, restart, try again. Not do qualifying, and you know, it was just a pain in the arse really, but yeah, but we've got it done this week. Yeah. Just waiting for these guys to see if they're alright to do interviews. We'll get them in and we'll have a talk to the top 3 and our driver of the day, Chris Nerve. make sure these guys have the right settings sorted so that we don't go into the interview and we end up not hearing them. So I'm going to invite these guys into a party now. Ooh. Neil Cheesewith, hats off to the commentator, great work, pal. Neil, if you come and see me, I'll get you a lollipop sorted. Who do I need as well? Moz. Good evening, Chris. Alright, man. I don't know if you've seen about if you go on your party settings and just make that you make sure your party allow your voice to be shared always on always allow, just so it picks up on the broadcast. Yeah. It should be. Yeah. It should be. It should be. No, it's not actually quite picking you up. If you go on your press your PS button. If you go on your settings, settings, and then you go down to your broadcast, sharing and broadcast, audio sharing settings, and then just tick all of them.
Is that working out?
I'll have a look at what the echo was. I was just watching the stream back to make sure that I could hear you. No, it's not actually quite picking up. Yeah, settings, and then you go down to your broadcast, sharing and broadcast. I'm just waiting for Timmy. I don't know if you've got Timmy on your friends list. If you want to just add him in, if you can.
I don't think you get Mars.
Yeah, you're on now anyway, I can hear you. So I'll try and get...
What's Timmy's thing?
Timmy DJ G94. Shouldn't be. I'm trying to add... He's offline.
Yeah, he's showing us offline. I've added him up.
I'm just waiting for them to come in, then we'll start the interviews. There's Timmy. You've been having problems with your mic? Yeah, it's a bit quiet to me on the stream. I don't know if we turn the volume up or not. Right. Yeah, I'll get someone else in. But thank you for coming in anyway, and well done on the win. Right, anyway, Chris, I'll start with you while we're waiting for, I've invited Dino. You know, yeah, Moz won as well, but I'll just start with you anyway. I've tried inviting him. He seems to be, it says he says he's joined, but he's appearing offline, so I don't know. But first corner, you ended up leading. And then after that, I don't know if you'd missed a gear change on the start-finish straight, but they seemed to come at you pretty quick. I don't know what happened, but how was your race from your point of view? How did you think you got on? Is there anything you would have done different, or was it just that mistake that sort of ruined your race? Yeah, I thought you always seem like throughout the race you always seem quite content when you've got people behind you. You don't seem to panic too much. So I thought you would have been leading for another few laps. But are you happy with fourth? Do you reckon, or were you hoping for a podium? Yeah, well, keeps you in third place, and you're around five points off the top, so pretty good going that. Yeah. Yeah. Dino, thanks for joining us. You were one of my choices for driver of the day, but I did go with Chris in the end. But fifth place, another fifth after I got it wrong last week. Well, Brazil, but fifth place this week, so another consistent top five. So, how did your race go? Did you feel that that was the maximum you could get? Yeah. Yeah, I think I pointed that out on the first lap that I'd sort of gone on you. You were down in ninth. I did see that there were I think 4 cars went side by side coming out of the first corner, and they were all off the track. So I can't imagine that would have been good for the tyres, or good for the car, trying to keep the car straight by going off the track. Yeah, I think it was a good race from you guys that were sort of you know, Chris, Dean, you two were sort of in that mix for. I thought it was actually going to be a bit closer for a podium. I thought you might have closed on Lee towards the end, and I thought Stu might have been in with a shot as well, but that wasn't meant to be. Moving on to Sardegna next week, Chris. How do you feel approaching that? I think it's the C, so I think it's like, I think it'll be like 50 seconds a lap, I think. Yeah, I think it'll be one of them ones that, you know, you'll get sick of the sight of it by the time you do about 60 laps. But, yeah, Dean, do you think the same again next week, top 5, or are you hoping for a bit better, or do you struggle around that track? Yeah. 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 Yeah, I thought that the Audi at the end, by the time it got to the end of the Kemmel straight, had pulled a bit, but yeah. Timmy, I'll certainly give it a listen on the stream, see if I'll certainly give it a listen on the stream of the Kemmel straight at Timmy. No, it's still really quiet on the stream. Listen on the stream, see if yeah. Timmy. You can hear it a little bit, but it's very faint in the background. So hopefully you can get that sorted for next week. Alright, sweet. Alright, cheers mate. Just for you guys, Dean and Chris, I just want to end on one more question. For the both of you, I'll put to the both of you. If you were sort of you were looking at Moz today, and you know Moz tonight, he is one of them drivers that he does make the minimal amount of pit stops, and he seems to use the tyres quite well. If you were that sort of driver, do you think you would have been able to gain positions, or do you think that that's the sort of the driver you are, but you're just not up there with Timmy and Moz yet? Because I know that Chris, you looked quite comfortable at the start of the race leading, and Frowny, you looked pretty consistent with your lap times, but for the pair of yous, there's 2 rounds left. Who do you see as your sort of main rival? Yeah. Well, I think the first race, I think he did. Yeah, I think the first race, I think he did quite well, because I know he was with you, Chris, for third, or fourth, sorry. And obviously Moz came third that race, so I know you two were quite close. And then the second race, Dino, you had a spin on the first lap, Lee had a spin on the first lap, and I think you recovered quite well, but I don't think Lee managed to recover from that. And I don't know if you actually you won't have seen in qualifying anyway, but the new guy came across the front of him on his final lap, and just completely took him off the circuit on his final run. So he might have been a bit closer, but yeah, third place for Lee. Are you sort of, I don't know, Dean, I was thinking that you and Brian were going to be the rivals for the rest, but Brian seemed to struggle really bad this week. I didn't expect that from Brian. Yeah. 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 I think, yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, Luke's back. Luke's back next week. He's only been able to do 2 rounds, and I mean he you know, I've seen how rapid he was at Monza, and it's a bit of a shame really, because I think we could have had 3 for the win tonight, but it wasn't meant to be. But to you guys, Chris and Dean, thank you for joining the interviews. It's been a pleasure. Chris, obviously, you were my driver of the day, but Frowny, you were my runner-up sort of driver of the day. It was actually very close between you two and Stu Shelton, because I thought Stu had a good race. But no, thank you very much, and good luck for next week.
He's going to smash us all next week as well.
I'm pretty sure he said that. Yeah, I believe it. But no, thank you guys, and to everyone who managed to stay for the 60 minutes. Well done, yeah, and go and have yourselves a break. I know I certainly will. But yeah, thank you very much, guys, and next week is the Sardegna road track, and we are at the C layout. So yeah, many laps, but a very short lap. So thank you guys, and catch you later.